And the video camera is dead. Okay, let's just start. The video camera is dead. Oh. Alright, the Seder. So we're up to Reish Ches, Sif, Beis, Sif Gimel. Just to clarify something I wasn't clear about, Reish Vav, just about when you make a bracha on food in front of you, is that if you don't have the food in front of you, so then if it's the same min, it's apples, so then it's fine. The question is, but it doesn't work if it's shahakol. You make a shahakol on fish and you want to eat candies. It doesn't work. However, what the post can say is that if it's the same, if the fish is still there and you bring the candies, then you can go from, you don't have to make another bracha on the candies. It's just I wasn't clear about that. Okay. Reish Ches, we're up to Sif Gimel. You put kemach into some sort of almond mixture. And this is what we were talking about yesterday a little bit, when it gets into a little more fruit, about fillers. You put it in not because of the taste, but because it makes you full. Alright? Then you do make mazonos if it makes you full. We just need it for consistency, and then you don't. However, the Shulchan Aruch finishes and says it's better to be machmir l'ganos l'chasuda achar b'chasamoitzi u'pater mimenu, because the shiloh over here is really the point is for tam, right? The chiyuv of brachos is that something tastes good for tam, gives flavor. It's hana, right? Now hana is a betin that you feel full is somewhere in between. If you put flour in just to make it creamy, that's okay, that's possible. It's tuffle. But you put it in to get hanas, a betin, whatever, to feel full, it's not clear hanas, so the Mechaber says that it's better to eat it, to chasuda. Al Kopanim, nice, I don't, but it could be just in this case, the Mishmur points out just in this case that since it could be the shkedim themselves also to make a person full, so you don't really need the flour as much. But it's obvious if it's just the flour which is making it, giving substance, and you can just say mazonis. Achal dagan chai also klayos or shalok. If you eat raw grains, or also klayos or shalok, hagarin shleimim. Einam avarach labor piadama achar barin afashos. And it says there's a suffix in brachos. You say if it's wheat, they say al adama, but we don't paskin like that. Akopanim. If this is where the shaila of puffed wheat comes in. That the shaila is that cooked or is that shalem, and that's let's see. Let's finish the sifra. But the varach lefana borpi adama haya ba'oichel chitin v'chiyotze v'hed deruin le'echol kach. We're talking about chitin that the rui le'echol. V'oichel so'orim shleimim fil kloim be'eish einam ruin le'echol. Chita you could eat raw, but not so'ora. Rachya de yatchak. V'im varach lefein rach shehakol. L'chein masha v'direi rasha shemasha hivsha chitin l'so'orim l'bracha achron masha v'lo l'rishoyna. If you do eat a kazayas of barley, then you just take the same bread of fasher. So Taisus is stopping Yivarach Achar Baruch Bein Shalosh of Al Ha'adama. L'chach Chos V'Shalachim Shel Achol Elav Tochasuda V'Yifterenu Birchas Hamazam. So this is where I get the general thing with puffed wheat is you get it to shilos, and that's that's why people who are they avoid eating puffed wheat. Because of the suffix bracha achrona, there are those who don't eat. Now, also the question over here is also what about pearl barley? What the Rachim discussed per barley, the klipa is off of it. So if you cook it, so then it's not shalem anymore. So therefore, these are only green shlemim. But something which is not shalem already, and that gets that you do make mezonos on it. Only here of things which are whole, yet like wheat berries or something like that, or they're whole. So then that's when you make ha'adama. But so therefore, like if when they also say with cholent, when you put barley in, there's also the shaila about is it ladabek, is it this? All these halachos together is that if a person throws in barley into his cholent to be yotzi zayin. They throw like a little bit of barley in just it makes the cholent thicker, because so then it's really just like batul b'miuto. So then you wouldn't make a mezonos on the cholent. However, if you put a nice amount of barley and beans, whatever don't just put like a sprinkling of barley, and then it doesn't turn the whole thing into and then it does turn into a mezonos. So to a soup,
if it's a pearl barley, but if it's a whole barley,
a whole barley, right? Then that also even wouldn't work, right? Well, that's only if it doesn't break up. If it breaks up, then it could be it does. Right. If it breaks up, cooks long enough, usually it does break up.
See the whole barley.
Yeah. Right.
Even if it's pearl barley, then it is mezonos?
If it's pearl barley, it's mezonos.
If it's not pearl barley, then it's not mezonos?
It will depend. If it depends how long you cook it for. If it's a whole grain and it comes out a whole grain after you cook it, it's still whole. Then it's haldama. If it breaks apart and it gets usually the cholent breaks apart. It's cooked long enough, it breaks apart. However, that's what's happening over here. That even if you cook it, if it's a whole grain. Like the Mishaber's lashon is shlochilcha mitchila v'galo nismachu klali, or the abishul. So then you make ha'adama. Al kopanim, and right. So that's without. If you make soup, you throw some barley and just a little bit, and there's like a lot of water, and what they say with the barley is that it comes up every once in a while. Then you don't make mezonos on the soup either. Right. Hey, kemach afilu shachitin mevarach alav shahakol. I always like shahakol. If a person eats flour, and if you toast the flour, whatever reason you're eating it, achaber nefashos v'lo shna nitchan dakdak v'lo shna nitchan ksas v'adayin yesh bo tam shachitim lo shna kemach shel klayos. Even if you roast it, it doesn't make a difference. It's not. It's shahakol. Kemach shel echad ben chamishes b'nei dagan sheshalko. Let's say you took kemach and bishlu harbe and you boiled and you cooked it. V'irvu b'mayim v'shar mashkim imaya aveh kedei sheyeh roi achila. So if it comes out, it turns into some sort of pirush yitzchonos of a pet. It turns into some sort of I don't know, mush or dice, some sort of porridge or something. The Baruch made mezonos. You make mezonos, even though it's not the derech to do that, you still make mezonos. But if it turns into like a very thin liquid, because that's not the ikr. The ikr here is for shtia. It's like a beer that you put it that you put something in, and it's ikr for shtia. So then you go ahead and you make shahakol.
So just a quick question. So if you're at Kiddush and you eat cholent and you can see that you don't know if it's barley or
it's pearl barley. Just listen. Sometimes in the stores they sell regular barley. They're like, what? But
I happen to only use whole barley. But I just
right.
But in this scenario, you would go with the standard that people use pearl, and you just go ahead and make them.
Just make mezonos on something else, though.
You're also saying that most of the time when you throw barley in a cholent, it doesn't stay whole. That's what I thought you were saying. I don't know the mitzias. I can't say the mitzias, but if afterward, if you put whole grain in it, then
it really depends on how the cholent cooks.
Yeah.
It depends how fast you eat it.
It really depends on the mitzias. I can't say I'm not really cholent's every.
I make cholent where you can mamish see the barley. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, has almost the exact same recipe as me, but her shown just the way it cooks, the barley comes apart.
Right. Okay. So that's.
In that case, the bracha is only the zonos, or you also make on the
Oh, so that's on the that's a separate issue with the Chayyim, which the Chayyim says if there's big choshev pieces, a whole like a big piece of potato, a big piece of meat, and you make hadama on a potato, you make shahakal on the meat. Could be on the meat anyway. You make shahakal there because it's also choshev. It's also the choshev doesn't become tafel. But if you don't have that, everything is just the basic, mix, and then little shreds of meat and everything together. Even if it's a lot of meat, so then then you just make the mazonos on it. Like how you say, someone who eats rice, so if you just have raw rice, that's where we're getting us into shilas of the puffed rice and the rice cakes. We'll talk about it in a minute. If you go in and you cook rice until it gets soft, you took rice flour and you made some sort of bread out of it. Because rice is a certain grain. The Gemara says that it's a little bit of a suffix exactly. If it is zan, and so it's chashuv, you make mazonos, but it's not alamichia, whatever. So therefore, it's the only thing you make bread of fashos afterwards, because Brachos Hamazon is only on, or min shalosh, which is mein Brachos Hamazon is only on chamishas aminim. But who? But if you go and put rice into something else, for example, cholent, instead of putting barley, put rice in. It doesn't have the din of kol sheyeshbo of mazonos, because it's not as choshev. Shaila with the rice cakes is, first of all, about the Rice Krispies and things, whatever, is that considered mavushal or not? So that, that's a discussion. The thing with rice cakes, it is hakam machlokes throughout the poskim. Some say mazonos, some say hadama. Some say it's mazonos because when you puff it up, they do it, it sticks together, so that turns into mazonos. Other people say no, it's called hadama. You have to go through the poskim and see which, with either one person, but al-Chopanim, even mazonos, because you have the din upon bring down the mazonos is yotzi with everything. So, in this case, either bracha you probably be yotzi. So you have to go through the poskim and see which, it's hard. I can't be machriya about which is the.
It's interesting to know that it's a soul, we manufacture rice cakes that have meat as a binder.
Some do, not all of them.
Right, no, they don't have, I've never seen it in America, but here in Eretz Yisrael, they actually have these rice cakes with meat as a binder, and you just go ahead and the brewer and make them designs.
Right, but but not all of them. Fine. I'll pass Daichan Feliza. Oh, so also you can ask a shaila here about sushi, because is rice considered the rove or not? Because rice, it's not kol sheyeshbo. So would rice be considered the ikr, or it's just the same thing as any other tarovis? The shaila is, I don't know. It does get a little bit complicated because obviously if you have just a little bit of rice and a lot of fish, then the fish is the ikr. But if it's a bit the opposite, depends on where you go. It really depends on rove or other regular type rovers. You don't say kol sheish, well, there's rice, so that automatically it's the ikr. It really depends. If it's mostly rice and a little bit of stuff, then you make mazonos on it. If it's somewhere in the middle, then it could be you should try to potter it with something else. Ches al pas doichan of felizo shashar mine kitnius. Dochan, this is millet, which I don't really know what it is because I've never bought it. But you make a pea soup or something. If they stay whole and they're the same or better, or they're better. Like peas, you can eat raw, and they're actually decent, but they're tov v'vushalin, and so then you make hadama. But even nismachu l'gamre, you make pea soup and they dissolve completely, or she'enan tovim v'vushal kachayin, or you went ahead and you put something in which is not, which is more garua, cooked, but I guess you put it in a soup to add flavor or some, or thickness, whatever. Orach Shahakol, then you make Shahakol because it's not like we have by jam or by different things. It's not, the tzur is not kaim anymore, so therefore you make a Shahakol.
Split pea soup, in the name it's already not showing.
Right, split piece, right. I'm saying if you use,
Well, split piece soup, I guess, I mean, look, split piece soup, I thought it was still hadama, because even though it's kind of liquidy, the pieces are still...
Yeah, it's very, the mamashos of split pea soup is a lot. So the mamashos is still there. You can tell it's pea soup. So I don't know. I have to look it up. I think Rabbinic is to make aldama because it's so thick.
Yeah, but so the Nishar Rishleim is not allowed?
The Nishar Rishleim is not talking about you make, also if you make a lot of beans and you blend it, I think it's also aldama, but I talk about over here
Why about the barley
the barley has to do with whether it's mazonos or not, and because the cheshivas of mazonos by the grains is not if it's whole, if it's broken up, then it gets cheshivas. By regular beans and things, by beans. So if beans, it sort of depends. If you put a beans into some sort of soup or something into a cholent, so then you will make, if it's a bean cholent, you make hadama. But if it's a smachul legamri, if the whole thing is beans, I'm not sure. If it's a smachul, but usually beans don't fall apart. But if you cook them so long that you have the Mexican refried beans or something like that, so that would be shahakal because you can't really tell what, it's smachul legamri, you can't really tell what it is. Soybeans, you make shahakal. You buy tofu, that's the smachul legamri, you make shahakal.
I was always, certain beans, like lentil soup, hadama. Mushroom barley soup, again, hadama.
Mazonos. It's mazonos. It's barley mazonos.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But look, most beans, categories like that, I was told most bean soup are hadama. Most soups like barley and other stuff. It's like mizono-ish, depending on how well it's cooked.
Depends on what. Depends on how well it's cooked. Depends on how much water there is. A lot of it depends on the recipe. When it comes to beans, if it's cooked long enough, like refried beans that they're mashed and then cooked, whatever, so that you would make a shahakal on pashtas. But when you have most beans, if it's a smachul legamri, meaning it just completely breaks apart. The split pea soup, I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I don't know.
But tomato soup, I know that some people have said it's shahakal because of the fact that it's transformed into from when you cook it very well, it's transformed into a paste, and we ruled that ketchup is shahakal, right?
Well, ketchup shahakal is also because it's rove sugar and the other stuff and not tomatoes. but no, tomato paste would be shahakal also because even though it's tomato paste, but it's a smachul legamri, it's completely a tomato soup. That's also a shtia, tomato juice. These things they're completely dissolved. They're completely turned into blended or whatever. Yeah, right. Erev kemach dochan sharmine kitnis in kemach shel chamesh tzamina. Let's say you mix. All these days, you go into a health food store, they have all these different types of flours and stuff and whatever. You mix it together with and then you cooked it because then the dagon becomes the ikr, even if it's not rov. But if you make some sort of bean flour, spelt bread, whatever you want to say, and birchas hamazon, because it's still the chaveshus haminim becomes the ikr and then it turns into actual bread. But also kemach mechaveshus haminim yoichal mimenu kazayis dagon. But the thing is now we're talking about bracha achrona over here. You say birchas hamazon only if there's enough, even though we say a mute of the chaveshus haminim, you make mazonos or you make hamotzi in this case, but it has to be a Kazayas Kedeilas Pras of of the actual dogon to get a shear to go ahead and make a Brachos HaMazon. Aval im ein bo zeh shear mechamishes aminim ein Brachos HaMazon. You can't make Brachos HaMazon. Ela betchila b'var hamoitzi him sheish bo tam dogon aval bi she'ein bo kazayis hilchiyas pras v'sof al hamichya, because it's not a choshev to go ahead and to get a Brachos HaMazon, because you don't eat enough of the Chameshus Aminim in the time allotted, in the shir time allotted, which is 2 to 9 minutes or whatever.
How are you making al if it doesn't have a size?
It's still this is very, it's funny. It transforms the whole thing into a mazonos. So it's al mechia, but you can't make Brachos HaMazon because it's not.
Al doesn't need a kazayas of the thing that is machayv al mechia, but I won't see that.
Right. So that's like, for instance, the Orach Chaim says B'Pasal V'Kisnin. He wholly understands the whole thing in Pasal V'Kisnin is that you don't have a kazayas of flour kliachiyas pras because it's full of other stuff. That's how he learns the whole sugya over there. So v'im bishlu v'kadeira b'varchtil b'rim zonos acharav reina fashos, because then it's because it is a tam dagon, but it's not. But however, when it comes to bracha achrona, it's the other things are relevant. You don't call, but kol sheish was only in the bracha rishona, not in the bracha achrona to the certain extent. The bracha achas vein shalosh al peres to chutz haaretz. Now this is a thing about that you asked about yesterday. The bracha achas vein shalosh al peres to chutz haaretz chaysem al haaretz al peres. Peres chutz haaretz you say al peres. The eretz yisrael chaysem al haaretz al peres seha. In bechutz haaretz oichel me peres haaretz chaysem gam kein al peres seha. Even if it's your chutz haaretz, you say al peres seha. And huadim we say with yayin. Also, the next halacha racham ein shalosh the yayin ein chaysem al gafin al peres gefen ela al haaretz al peres gefen, or if there to sell you say al peres gafna al haaretz the al haperes. When you combine them together, you have to say we start. You finish all your gefen, and you say al haaretz the al peres gefen.
How do we pass him the mindset? We do this. You don't mention the al gefen and the chasima.
No, you say al haaretz, not al. The difference is you put al haaretz. We say al haaretz al peres gefen. Right, exactly. Yeah, but Mazkirim ba me'elam ha'orah b'Shabbos Yom Tov Rosh Chodesh. In Mein Shalosh, you do Mazkir Shabbos Yom Tov and Rosh Chodesh, but lo b'Chanukah and Purim. There's no al nisim or anything. V'im achal peres v'shiva minim, achal minim mezoros v'shasa yayin. So you did all three. Yichlu al kol b'bracha achas. V'yaktiv ha'michya. First you say al ha'michya, achal ha'gefen, al gefen, achal ha'etz. You have al ha'michya, al kol al gefen, al pir gefen, al ha'etz, al pir ha'etz. Chayis al ha'aretz, al michya, al pir gefen, al ha'peres. Im achal peres v'shivas haminim, v'achal tapuchim. Let's say you ate grapes and you ate apples. Ein tzarech levarach al tapuchim b'rei nefashos. Shigam heim b'chal birchas al ha'etz. You don't have to say b'rei nefashos, so it's nichal al ha'etz. Shigam heim pri ha'etz heim. It fits in. But im achal tapuchim v'shasa yayin tzarech levarach b'rei nefashos al tapuchim, because tapuchim are not yayin. V'chol shekeni achal basar pri adama v'shasa yayin or achal meshivas haminim shetzarech levarach al kol achas v'achas huadinim achal basar v'dagim v'achal mechamishas haminim and birchas al michya poteres as al basar v'dagim. If you say it's also michya, it doesn't make a difference how michya is only going on mechamishes haminim. Yidal shasa yayin v'erach bor pri agafim v'achal anavim. He drank wine and then he ate grapes. Tzarech levarach aleim bor pri ha'etz. You don't just say al gefen. It doesn't cover grapes. Because it's not al gefen is really only on wine. It's not on grapes. However, since it is nichal, so yeah, I mean, if you went ahead and you made al gefen, you have to make also al ha'etz. You have to masker al ha'etz for the grapes. However, if you forgot, and you only say al gefen, then you don't have to make another bracha achrona. Shasa yayin umayim You don't make a brain of fashis on the water. Paters everything. So too, the wine will pater a person drinks a couple cups of wine and then drinks some Coke and some juice or whatever. It's all pater in the bracha. It makes it. This is your pater from bracha. Brachos shalosh she'einu poteres bein shalosh. Brachos hamazon doesn't pater al michya. Im achal daisa, ein brachos hamazon partato. If you eat oatmeal or whatever, then brachos hamazon doesn't pater it. If you make brachos hamazon on it, you eat the oatmeal and make brachos hamazon on it. If it's tachas suda, obviously it does. Like the yayin. If you benched on wine, it does pater it. We're talking about you made a mistake, whatever it was. Because it is amazing. Chazal say, if you just you realize, then you're yotze ben al yayin ben al tamarim, you're yotze. But if you remember in the middle of the bracha, yaschil anywhere in Brachos Hazam, you just continue with Ve'in Shalosh and finish it that way. Lo yichlol al safek shum tosefes v'brichos Ve'in Shalosh v'isha eno mosif shem amalchos v'isha shashosam mashker shesavik in Brachos al hagefen of Reina Fashos. It's a little bit spoiled, you don't know. Lo yoichol davar shebrachos al Reina Fashos rabbis. Don't go ahead and start trying to add extra brachos. You have to say al gefen. Don't try to say, well, I'll do a breda fashas and I'll do payers. It's not going to work. If you want to drink regular wine, that's great. Take a cup of wine. But al kopanim, don't go ahead and just try to pater with Brei Nefashos and Al Geffen. We'll start one more halacha here. And then a toes. Lacha chosha sheichar o shomayim. This is if you made a mistake. Halsach v'amar baruch atah Hashem kol melech haolam al das lomer shehakol. You had das at the beginning of the bracha to say shehakol. V'tav v'amar Brei Pri Geffen. You made a mistake. Ei machzirin also. The first shita holds that's chal because when you started the bracha, you das to finish with shahakol, and you said the wrong thing. You're still yoytze. If you made a mistake and you thought this was wine, I had a baisa once. I was in yeshiva and someone had put in a grape juice bottle, had put grape flavored petal. They put it in the fridge. So it came time for Havdalah. Someone took it out and made and they poured it in the cup and they made Havdalah on it. It was only afterwards. It was like an hour later. They thought that it was grape petal. So we got to call everyone back to make Havdalah again. I don't know. That's what happened. So. So then Pasach Baruch Hashem Adas Loimar Bori Pri Hagofen, that if you had das the Bori Pri Hagofen, V'nitzka Shu Shecha or Mayim Yisiyim Shehakol Yotza, because it was completely a mistake. Hagav Koshken Yohaya Biyadu Yayin Esava Shu Mayim Upasach Adaita Loma Shehakol V'nitzka Uvarach Bori Pri Hagofen Yotza Sherei Af Im Sim Shehakol Yotza, since the bracha will cover it anyway. So the first part doesn't revolve the second part. Okay, so then we'll stop here.
So what's the scenario